Welcome to the City Show. Pat O Melia here. Are you there? That's why I do the show, because you're there. I'm here to inform you, entertain you, maybe educate you a little bit. You never know. Pay attention to everything on the bottom of the screen. Subscribe to us on YouTube, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. The whole thing, maybe our website's working as we do battle with GoDaddy. GoDaddy, they try to charge us for 3 years. So I get them to refund 2 of those years. I'll do 1-year renewals. And they screwed up their website. So they had 72 hours to fix it. And it expires at the time of this taping. So we'll get into GoDaddy later. Jersey City, probably one of the greatest spectacles I've ever seen, was the St. Peter's basketball parade of champions. The champions they were. You know, you don't go to the NCAA finals not being a champion. Thousands of spectators. You know, everybody was smiling. The weather was cooperating. Went from the Lincoln statue to the university on Montgomery Street. Mayor Phillip and the city did a tremendous job with the parade, organizing it, getting the floats, getting the marches. Mayor Phillip gave the university and all the players a key to the city. And I've been covering this city for about 25 some odd years now. That's the first time I think I've ever seen the key to this city. So again, congratulations, St. Peter's Peacocks. What a ride you took us on. You deserved all the accolades. You deserve all the attention. And thank you for the memory that you'll have for all your lives and will have. This weekend, I went back to my roots as a mechanic. Before I got into TV and radio, I used to repair tractor trailers, buy, sell, and repair tractor trailers. And I went back to my roots as a mechanic this weekend. I have a 2007 Lincoln, it's my highway car. I have cars that all have a particular road. They all have a special role they have to accomplish, whether a four-wheel drive, a van. And the Lincoln is the highway car. She'll cruise up and down the Turnpike Parkway. You don't even know you're driving. We had a fuel issue with the Lincoln, and it's been ongoing to track down this fuel issue that is sending codes, engine light coming on. You have to read the codes. I have changed the fuel tank in the Lincoln. I have changed the fuel pump in the Lincoln. I have changed the fuel filter. I have changed the fuel sensors. Everything fuel related, I have changed. And we continue to have the car bucking and throwing the codes. So my car guys and I, we all determined that it was the computer. But let me break for commercial and we'll pick up the story on the flip side. You're watching The City Show. I'll be right back.
Jersey City Medical Center is healing, enhancing, and investing in Hudson County because your heart doesn't beat just for you. So get it checked. When your bones are healthy, it lifts us all. We're delivering joy daily in our Lord Abbott Maternity Wing and providing New Jersey's only NCI-designated comprehensive cancer center. We'll continue building our medical network and taking every precaution for your safety so that we can all be healthy together.
Stevens Jersey City Ford, certified parts and service located at Route 440 and Communipaw Ave, is your #1 source for Ford and Lincoln automotive needs. We use certified Ford Motorcraft products to keep your Ford running in top shape. Motorcraft parts are backed with the Ford warranty, which includes a 2-year unlimited mileage guarantee. Our team will have the right Motorcraft part to ensure the best performance from your Ford or Lincoln. You can order in person at the parts counter or online. Let us help keep your Ford or Lincoln in the best shape at Stevens Jersey City Ford.
We're back, City Show. Pat O Melia here as I entertain you with my repair accomplishments this weekend. So we chase these codes constantly. We change the sensors, throw in a code. You drive it until it got operating temperature for a few miles and would start to buck. So the car guys and I all determined it's the computer. So we got to get a computer for a 2007 Lincoln, which was rather easy. You know, barely an inconvenience. So we get the computer, and I'm all excited. I'm going to have it put in. I wasn't going to tackle it at first. But I'm reading the instructions because, I read everything. And it says, before installing a new computer, replace all the spark plugs and all the ignition coil packs. All right, well, there's 8 of each, and those coil packs are expensive. All right, so there were other cars. I had work to do on a few of the other cars, so that stayed in the background. Buy Wise in Jersey City, where I get all my parts. Got my buddy Ched down there. Ched gets me all the coil packs. He gets me the spark plugs. I decide I'm going to do it because the car is broken down in Seaside Heights. I don't want to tow it up to Mario at Goya, so I'll do it myself. I used to do these things. Been a long time since I gap plugs and all. I gap the plugs, and it's very tight working quarters in these new cars. And it's, even though it's 2007, it's still a new car. The fuel rail is right over the ignition coils. And unless you want to take apart the entire fuel system and have problems, you're going to fight through it. And fight through it I did. My hands are all torn up. I'm not a glove guy, never been. I actually cut my nose doing this. But I got all the parts in, and I put the car back together. I took everything apart, air-wise. For that matter, I cleaned the throttle body. If you ever get a chance and that throttle body is exposed, clean it. So I get everything. I put everything back together, and now it's the computer. Looks like it's pretty straightforward to me. So I unbolt the computer. The bolts were there all these years, WD-40, and finally get the bolt out. Slide the new computer in. It's 3 huge connections, plugs. Plug them in, go into the car, turn the key. All I got is dashboard lights, nothing. Now I'm like, I know what I did. It's been a while since I never worked with coil packs before. They weren't around when I was fooling around cars as a kid. So the next day, I'm going to retrack all my steps. Make sure I got the coil packs in right, because the spark plug goes into a well now. But I figured, and my wife even suggested, change the computer out again. So I put the old computer back in, plug it in, sit it on top of the new one, plug it in. Boom. Now there's room. It's rooming pretty damn good, too. So I did the tune-up part right. I got the gaps right, and always gap the plugs. They say it pre-gapped. They're not pre-gapped. These were at 54s. I needed, I think they were at 50 in the gap out of the box. So it's not the computer. It's not the coil packs and the plugs. So the next day, I did this on a Sunday, come to the office, I call the company, and they said, well, you had the computer for like a month. It probably lost its code. I said, what do you mean? It's sat too long. So you didn't say anything about having to install it immediately. Plus, you did say how many other things I had to get. So now they're sending me another computer. But after I tape the show today, I am going to put the old computer back in and take her out, because maybe, just maybe I did a reset on the old computer and it will run all right. But I'd like to take her out on the road. Now I'm done entertaining you with all that, my weekend. Oh, and by the way, we'll probably get into this later in the show. Mayor Phillips says the property values in Ward C are going to skyrocket. But let me talk about some redevelopment here. This is what Mayor Phillips talking about, redevelopment. We got the Tower project, the Kushner project, going up across the street from the Lowe's Theater. That'll start in a few months. You got the Lowe's Theater. You got Pompidou coming. You got development that's going to come at the C.H. Martin site. But here's the problem. We need to have a serious discussion on development in Jersey City. Because we're really putting the cart in front of the horse here. We need a serious discussion. I want to focus on 2 projects. The 2 projects in particular, one's controversial. It's the Morris Canal Manor. It's 17 stories. It's going to have 361 units. It's going to be built on vacant land that originally was going to be parkland. And the other one is the 3 towers. There's 2 of them up right now on Pavonia and Summit, right behind Journal Square. In those towers, when all completed, will consist of 1,840 units. That was built on a parking lot. That's the easiest way to build in Jersey City. That's why we had no parking anymore. We built everything on parking lots. So I just want to focus on these 2 projects. There are projects going up all over the city. Every other block's got something going on. Whether it's the 2-family, that's really an illegal 3-family, or larger. But there's projects going on every other block. But again, I just want to look at these 2 projects for now. When completed, both these projects combined will have 2,201 units added as planned now. Now, let's just figure 1 child per unit. Now, I'm going to have more than 1 child, be 2 child, maybe 3 children. But let's figure just 1 child per unit. That brings up to 2,201 children who will be need to going to school. where are they going to go to school? That becomes an interesting question because we're fighting and struggling with the school budget and the incredible tax increases that is, right on Mayor Fulop's desk. The buck stops with Fulop, even though he has absolutely no say or sway over the Board of Education in Jersey City, and that has to change because the tax bill, we blame the mayor for everything, but there's three components to the tax bill: school, municipal, and county. Where would 2,200 kids go to school when these projects are completed? Now, the three towers, one of those towers are already completed. Just these two projects alone, the three towers behind Journal Square there on Summit and Pavonia, and the Morris Canal Manor, will require 1.5 schools to accommodate those 2,200 kids. And that's if all the kids, I'm just saying grammar school, if all those kids were spaced out from pre-K to 8th grade. PS 23 on Broadway and Van Wagner or Romaine, whichever the block you want to look at. I spent most of my childhood there, from kindergarten and on up. Actually, I requested to take a tour of my old alma mater because the school system is saying how badly all the schools are in need of repair. 23 School was built in 1919. I remember that building quite well. I spent a lot of my childhood in that building. That's why I wanted to look at it. PS 23 has about 1,300 kids in it. With these 2,200 units coming on, we're looking at 2,200 kids coming in. So we need like 1.5 schools just to accommodate the kids that will come from just these two projects we're focusing on. We don't have the room in the inn for these kids. We don't have the ability to absorb this kind of residential project with all these children. All right, let's break for commercial. You're watching The City Show. I'll be right back.
I've got cancer.
We've got the highest level of cancer care.
The latest clinical trials.
Researchers working to find a cure.
And nurse navigators to guide you every step of the way.
At New Jersey's only NCI-designated Comprehensive Cancer Center, your safety has always been our top priority.
I've got cancer, but I also have peace of mind.
Jersey City Medical Center and Rutgers Cancer Institute of New Jersey. Let's beat cancer together.
We're back. Pat O Melia here. You there? Again, we're talking about short-sightedness, I guess is the best way to describe it, in development here in Jersey City. We simply don't have the ability to absorb a population increase of just these two projects. Now, if you get the planning board agenda, as I do, like every 2 weeks, there's a lot of projects coming. We don't have the ability to absorb 2,200 kids into our school systems as it stands right now. The schools are, as described, they're overcrowded. And they're saying there's 18 kids in a class. Again, I want to tour PS 23 school to see how many kids are in the class. I made that request of the Jersey City Board of Education president almost 2 weeks ago. Nobody has gotten back to me. We don't have the infrastructure to absorb this type of population. From sewer to water to whatever you want to talk about infrastructure-wise. We don't have the parking. Those two, I got a number here somewhere on that. Just those two projects will require 1,540 parking spots. That's at 70% of the units having a car. 70% of the residents of Jersey City have a car. City services, we don't have it to accommodate this influx. And again, we're talking 2,200 kids, and we're looking at 4,000 parents, so we got 6,000 people coming in just in these two projects. We don't have the mass transit. We don't really have mass transit. There's no subways. People act like, well, we're close to New York. We're in New York, Jersey City is the 6th borough. No, we're not. We're not even close. We don't have the infrastructure of New York City. There's no subways here. We don't have the bus service here. Unless you want to go completely broke and totally subsidize New Jersey Transit, because that's the only bus service we have anymore. Jersey Transit has run every private operator out because Jersey Transit has no respect for money because they don't have to. They need money, just take it out of your pocket. Look at you talk about the three towers and the Kushner project, and the boom that's going to occur on Journal Square in Ward C, there's the path. Have you looked at the path? The path is packed. I mean, packed. The path is packed before it even gets to Journal Square. Forget about it when it gets down to Pavonia. It is packed. There is no room there. So as we keep pushing development, and one of the selling points is, you're right next to the path. You get on the path and get the hell out of Jersey City and go to Hoboken or New York City. No, you can't, because it's packed. It is packed. And again, this is just a small sample of 2 projects. One is halfway here already, the 3 Towers, and the other one, the Morris Canal, that's somewhere down the road. But just those 2 projects, 2,200 kids. Jersey City shouldn't develop unless we can accommodate, unless we can absorb the density of these projects. We have the city services, we have the sewer, we have the water, we have the schools, we have the police, we have everything we need to accommodate this influx of population. And these aren't Jersey City people just relocating. These are people, they're escaping New York, they're escaping other parts, basically New York. But unless we can develop where the development intersects with the capability of accommodating the influx of this population and the children going to school. We can't sit here and keep saying, oh, by the way, I don't think there's any affordable housing component. Maybe the Morris Canal has 5%. I don't think there's any affordable housing to the 3 Towers. I could be wrong. Unless we can plan, which is what planners are supposed to do, where we can intersect with the need and the services, we shouldn't do this. It's not fair to the kids. It's not fair to the teachers. It's not fair to the taxpayers of Jersey City who pay that big school tax. On the April 5th Jersey City Planning Board agenda, there were 649 units going to be approved. On 136 Culver Avenue, 365 units. 70 Mallory Avenue, 136 units. 10 South Street in the Heights, 10 units. 632 Grand Street, 48 units. 286 Cole Street, 286 Cole Street, 682 units of housing. Port Liberté, 401 units of housing. And 26 Perrine Avenue, 1,649 units of housing. So we're looking at least 1,649 kids. That's if we only have 1 kid in every one of those units. Now, some won't have any kids. Some will have 2 or 3. But just using that, where are they going? Now, with those 1,649 kids, we need another school and a quarter to accommodate them. We don't have it. There are no new schools on the horizon. There's no plans for any. The city isn't building any, the state isn't, and no matter what kind of deal the city makes, which is really bribery. It reminds me in the old days when we would give density and abatements for a park. The new thing is if you have a huge mega development, build us a school. But when you're building a school, like the Saddlebrook project down on downtown Jersey City, which fell apart for right now, they were going to build a school if they got the okay for the tower and all the other construction they were going to do. But the school was only like 10, 15 classrooms. It's hardly enough. We don't have the school system to accommodate this. We don't have the infrastructure to accommodate this. We tax our city infrastructure when we build these mega towers on a footprint that had, a 6-unit apartment building or a 3-family home or a parking lot that never had any of those sewer connections or water connection or any of this city infrastructure. And we overtax the city. But predominantly what we do, we overtax the school system because we keep bringing in these people. They're coming in every week, every month, coming in. And here's the same school system. Now, we're talking about kids in trailers, overcrowded classrooms. We keep exacerbating this problem by short-sightedness with the development. Like I said, One planning board agenda, 1,649 units. That the city really needs is a think tank regarding the development. Now it's time to pump the brakes a little bit. Pump the brakes. We're a destination city now. We're location. We're it. People want to develop and put money in Jersey City. Now it's the time to pump the brakes and let's revisit our development strategies here. And it's just foolish to keep building when we can't accommodate the residents moving in. Really, it's short-sighted. All right, we're going to break for commercial. You're watching The City Show. I'll be right back.
Jersey City Medical Center has a passion for heart health. We're Hudson County's only full-service heart hospital with innovative technologies and premier cardiovascular physicians, a partnership with Rutgers Health, the latest technology and medical advancements, and nationally renowned care for every heart in every community. Whoever your heart beats for, our hearts beat for you. Jersey City Medical Center.
We're back. City Show. Pat O Melia here. You there. Don't forget everything on the bottom of the screen. If you want to send me an email, that sort of thing. You have my email there. Direct. If you got some, problems with the city, the county, consumer issues, we like to get involved in that kind of stuff. And we're pretty successful. We'll see how we do with GoDaddy soon. Bayonne. We got a lot of Bayonne here today. We are kicking around the idea of working with John Hines of Hudson County View. He's back on air this week, for that matter. He'll 1:30, 2 o'clock. He'll be in the studio on Thursday. We're thinking about we are doing a mayoral debate on the 28th. Al Sullivan from Tapped Into is going to moderate it. We already contacted Jimmy Davis and Sharon and Dr. Mitchell. So we're set there. We're looking at doing 3 ward debates and 1 at-large for Bayonne. Hopefully tomorrow or Wednesday we'll finalize the dates. Most of them are pretty easy. You got 6 candidates at large. That's kind of taxing the studio. You got 6 people. You got a moderator. That's a lot of camera work. But we'll probably work that out. We did a few 6 candidates for Hoboken. I think 1 in Jersey City too. I think we'll get more information out as we they got an election coming up in May in Bayonne. Staying with the fine Peninsula City, a little kudos to Mayor Davis. Mayor Bayonne has closed on the land for St. Andrew's School and Convent, and those properties will be transferred over to the Bayonne Board of Education. They'll be converted into public schools. You want to throw too much into the St. Andrews, just got to bring it up to code, and whatever modernization has to go on. There's some expense there, and I guess the convent will become office space for the schools, for the new school. That is one way of controlling the overcrowding in the Bayonne schools. We don't do that in Jersey City. But what we do in Jersey City, if we close a Catholic school, it'll immediately become a Jersey City charter school. But, we probably should own the property right now. Kudos to Mayor Davis and the Board of Education. That's an excellent move for the Peninsula City. Now, on the flip side of Bayonne, there is a interesting here. We've had a few of these things in Jersey City where Mayor Fulop or the City of Jersey City would pull the designation for the development of a particular piece of property. Back in 2015, in the Bayonne MOT, the Military Ocean Terminal, they agreed on the sale of land for $35 million, lots of land. Back in 2015, nothing happened with the property. Actually, nothing happened, period. They never even executed the agreement. Nothing was signed, no checks, $35 million didn't, go from the developer to the city of Bayonne. It just kind of sat there, and this person, they had the land and designated the developer. Here we are in 2022, and Bayonne Council President is Chandra Narodowski. I really got to get a handle on pronouncing that last name. And she's the city council president and a candidate for mayor in Bayonne. She wants to review that sale now since it is 7 years old. And again, nothing was executed. Nothing, no money changed hand. No, there was no check that went out to the town, the city of Bayonne for $35 million. And 7 years later, what is that property worth? Well, you're seeing our property values have exploded in Hudson County. It is conceivable what was a $35 million piece of property in Bayonne could easily be worth about $75 million today. So I have to agree with Sharon on this and say, well, let's reopen this deal. But I don't even know if you had to reopen it. If it wasn't finalized, it wasn't executed, and no money changed hands, you don't have a deal. Once that, a contract should be signed and there's stipulations and money goes by and that developer starts paying property taxes on the land, that's the deal. That doesn't appear to have happened here. So I agree with Sharon. Listen, you're slow, you lose. And Bayonne could pick up another $35 million, which Bayonne would like to have an extra $35 million. So I agree wholeheartedly with Sharon on that. In Jersey City, we have some COVID drama occurring here, and there's probably a lot of fire when we see the smoke of this. This has to do with Bespoke. We had him in the studio a few times at the beginning of the COVID crisis, pandemic, and Bespoke came into Jersey City and other municipalities also in Hudson County, and they rapidly set up the vaccine centers and everything involved with the vaccinations for COVID, the 2 shots and then the booster. And when Bespoke rolled that out, and when the city and the feds rolled out the vaccination program, believe me, there wasn't a lot of planning or thought into it. And why? Because this was happening in real time. People were dying. So we didn't have a lot of time to sit and plan and figure out personnel moves and where you're going to set up a service and how much it's going to cost. So there was probably a lot of waste. There was probably a lot of redundancy, but everything was happening at a rapid pace in an effort to save lives. That was Mayor Fulop's only goal when they contracted with Bespoke. Get this system out to the people, get the vaccinations, get the needles into the arms to save as many Jersey City residents as possible. And that was accomplished. I think Jersey City was probably one of the better municipalities. I think at the final was like 90% of Jersey City was vaccinated. So Bespoke did a good job. Now, did they waste any money? They probably did. And then Bespoke, they had a contract with the County of Hudson to supply PPE. Remember PPE? Oh, everybody was in the PPE. The mask, all the protective equipment. And the pricings of masks and various PPE went, through the ceiling. I don't know how much. I don't really price out masks anymore or sanitizer, which we all have tons of sanitizer and a lot of masks floating around. Bespoke, again, they never signed a contract with the county, but they didn't keep their word. The spirit of the contract, Bespoke didn't accomplish. And it was really foolish for Bespoke because the commissioners pulled the contract and they had nothing good to say about Bespoke. And that, on the heels of what Jersey City is now going to look at the expenses for Bespoke to find out if there was waste of money. Yeah, there's waste of money because we rolled out that program with, as fast as possible, with as little as planning as you can possibly roll a program out with because of the situation at the time. What happened with the county? That was just ridiculous on Bespoke's behalf. All right, I'm out of show. You be good. You be safe. I'll talk to you next week. Good night.